All right. As far as my mono red deck, took me like 2 minutes to find out with my generalist. The primary one, back built like 10 years ago, was Jaya Ballard, Task Mage. So what she does is do two things very well: destroy target blue permanents and lightning bolts. So you can go the madness route, or doing stuff, activating abilities in graveyards and things like that, where you're not actually losing a card because you can get it back or whatever. There's like a couple hammers, squee. Hey, being in your upkeep, you may return him to your hand if he's in your graveyard. Like, the original squee is better than the other ones, in my opinion, because card advantage, going back to your hand. So, the last one is basically board wipe. Pay 7, board wipe, and discard a card. So, yeah. She was the primary one, and she was pretty cool. Secondary general for artifacts, when I saw this, was pretty epic. Yeah, the base deck in 2014, when this came out, it had everything that was already needed, give or take. Cage Sun is needed more for like multiplayer, but for 1 versus 1, that's debatable. The extra damage and putting a whole bunch of mana into burn spells is really appealing when you can actually pull it off. So, looting, +2 and the -2, sacrifice an artifact to reanimate. So anything with an ETB or a dying trigger, you can take advantage of. And the last one is reanimate artifacts when they die after you get the emblem at the beginning of the next end step. So pretty useful. That being said, other planeswalkers that I've got here: Jaya Ballard, kind of new. And while I do have some spicy X spells in here, let's just say the other +1, where you discard up to 3, then draw that many, is actually pretty good. So she's good for mana and good for looting. The ultimate is almost like flashback in a sense. You may cast instant sorceries from your graveyard. If a card that's cast this way would be put in your graveyard, exile it instead. Anything that doesn't have like shuffle effects. You know, if this would die, shuffle it. If this would go to the owner's graveyard, shuffle it into the library instead. Blue Sun Zenith comes to mind, Red Sun Zenith. All of the Sun Zenith cards get shuffled into their library as an example. I want to say Jaya Ballard works really well outside of just mono red, in other colors as well, like blue red, blue green red, that sort of thing. Chandra, Torch of Defiance, is arguably on par with Jason Mind Sculptor. Very good, and in a sense pays for itself with a +1, add 2 red mana to your mana pool. So the first one gives you card advantage or damage, and you're not actually losing cards from your hand if you were to do that. The -3 is great for coming into play and immediately blowing something up, potentially. 3 damage to most creatures is enough to kill them if they're turn 1 or 2. Turn 3 and beyond, debatable. -7, whenever you cast a spell, this emblem deals 5 damage to target creature or player. Yeah, that's not bad. Not bad at all. So instead of double damage, when you get the emblem, you just do the whole, like, whenever you cast something, this emblem deals 5 damage in addition to the... Whenever you cast a spell... okay, so it's not an additional, it's a triggered. Whenever you cast a spell, this emblem deals 5 damage to target creature player. So that's a triggered. So you activate the final, boom, it resolves. You cast a draw spell, Faithless Looting. In addition to casting that, it would deal 5 points of damage to whatever. Okay, not bad, not bad. I don't think I read the final one before, so it took me a second there. Pretty solid. As far as basic lands go, Portal. Wait, sorry, that's Ice Age. M 2013. Mask Mirage? Mask something. It's Mask something. Mirage. That's Mirage right there. Urza Saga. Yeah, got some good stuff from all over. 7th edition. 2015. Commander 2015. Commander 2011, if I'm not mistaken. Or 2012. I can't remember. It's 2011 or 2012. The original Commander set symbol. Kamigawa, Ravnica, Time Spiral foil. This one's pretty nice. I like this one. So yeah, Snow Covered Mountain, got one of those. They're about $1 each. Cryptic Caves, draw power, Gargoyle Castle. A, you make a creature, and B, it's an artifact in addition to its other types with flying. Artifact land, artifact indestructible land. So you can swap it out for, what's his name? Duretti? Yeah. Arcane Lighthouse to target. Sacrifice an artifact to gain a life. So someone's about ready to remove it or whatever, or you're about ready to do something where you're sacrificing artifacts and getting back on field. You can get ahead of the curve by already getting the graveyard. This just gets you card advantage and graveyard advantage, plain and simple. It's good outside of mono red to black green or even green decks, especially for ones that run equipment. Mana ramp and damage, pure and simple. Let's see what else I have. Mana rocks. When you run a ton of artifacts that like equipments, for example, Inspiring Statuary really comes in handy because you turn everything that is not a mana rock into a mana rock, essentially. Therian Dynamo is good. Basalt Monolith is good. Cage Sun. Cage Sun and Inspiring Statuary go hand in hand. So, mana rock, mana rock. This one's multi-purpose with the exception of you don't get mana, but you get like nearly everything else that you need. Copy effect, mana rock / destroy stuff, damage, which is pretty solid. Straight damage, nothing else. Ori is great in the sense if you run out of cards, and in addition to playing multiple lands. The only one thing that I found out is if you have no cards in your hand at the beginning, then this triggers. You can't just simply start the turn out with a card in your hand and then discard it, and then for the trigger to resolve. It doesn't work like that. But it is a great card, a great cheap budget card. Liquid Metal Coating is great for anything like mono green, mono red. You turn something artifact and you just pop it. It's annoying when you do it to lands, so it's recommended you just do it to creatures or enchantments. Darksteel Forge, that's in Japanese or Chinese. All permanents on the field are all artifacts that you control are indestructible. This is not the other one. This is the one that just makes all your... This is Darksteel Forge, so it makes all your artifacts indestructible. The other one is different, and I don't have it in the deck, but everything that is not in play is colorless, and everything that is in play is an artifact in addition to its other types. Distorting Lenses works with Jaya Ballard, Task Mage. Turn something into blue and then pop it. So, pretty solid. Mimic Vat, anything that dies, you can have it just immediately exiled. But while it does stop dying triggers, there's something else that it did. Give me a second. So, Mimic Vat stops dying triggers and allows you to take advantage of the creature while it's in the graveyard. But the main problem there is it's only one card at a time, and you're not permanently removing it. You're just stopping the dying triggers and some other things, like stopping dying triggers and the other people from getting advantage of it. Yeah, I still feel like I'm missing something, but that's generally how the card works. Mimic Vat is pretty strong and it was banned when it first came out in Standard all those years ago. Mostly because back then there was Mimic Vat and what was that card called? I don't think I have it here. So Mimic Vat plus the Skull Clamp, that's what it was. Skull Clamp and Mimic Vat is what made it broken, and they stopped doing that. Because you would have it die, re-equip it, and have it die again once you already equip it with a Skull Clamp. It got brutal, got nasty. Sol Ring, classic. Indestructible mana rock that you can kick it to make 2 extra tap copies of it. Yeah, that's pretty good. ETB, or when it dies, draw a card. This legendary artifact is pretty good, and it's great in anything that has red in it that runs at least 10 or more instants and sorceries, because what it does is it copies them. So, not like Faithless Looting, but the other one, the 2-drop versions. In addition to its other costs, discard a card. You draw 2 cards. Anything like that, you're already paying the cost by discarding. So if you were to copy that one, the initial cost would be discard a card, draw 2. Copies put on the stack. Excuse me. The copy resolves first, but the original is the one where you pay the cost by discarding. The copy is basically you just draw 2. So yeah, copy resolves, you draw 2, then the original resolves, you discard a card, and then you draw 2 cards. So you're up by 4, and you discard a card. Boom. That's pretty good. Pyromancer's Goggle is worth it, even if it's just for burn alone. Nev's Disc, already said it before, destroys creatures, artifacts, and enchantments, and enters tapped. It's reusable board wipe with Toretti, which is pretty important. Rings of Bright Hearth allows you to copy activate abilities, as long as they're not mana abilities. So that one artifact here, Basalt Monolith, you can have fun with that. You can have fun with Pyromancer's Goggles, Neverall's Disc, Ruby Medallion, Spawn of Ishtal. These are self-explanatory. Red spells cost 1 less. This is ETB, destroy target permanent, including lands. When it dies, it goes back to your owner's hand. Elixir of Immortality for graveyard shuffling and life gain. ETB and dying, you get a basic land in your hand. Non-land cards have flashed. You may cast non-land cards as if they had flash. Excuse me. Mind Stone, Mana Rock, or Draw Power. Very simple, very easy. Mono red counterspell, or destroy target blue permanent. I don't know if I have anything else like that. Chaos Warp, take target permanent and shuffle it into his or the owner's library, and flip the top. If it is a permanent, put it on the battlefield. But if not, you just leave there. Like if it's another instant sorceries. Expel. This is a very good one because while you don't really refill your hand, you could exile quite a bit, like 4, 5, 6 cards. And they're guaranteed to be something there that you can play. So you may not be able to play all your lands that way, unless you can play extra lands. But you can definitely have access to really good stuff that you don't need to cash right away. Well, depending on the situation anyway. So you got some removal right there. Excuse me, draw power right there, removal right there. Removal. Faithless Looting, draw 2, then discard 2. Flashback. Scrap Mastery is the same thing as Living Death, but for artifacts rather than creatures. So, remove all the creatures in the graveyard, sacrifice all the artifacts that are currently on the battlefield, put them in the graveyard, put all the cards that were previously in the graveyard that is now exiled, return them to the battlefield. It'll trigger death effects as well, so it's useful, but just double check before you cast Scrap Mastery that you're not screwing yourself over. Alright, Scrap Mastery, Outpost Siege, begin your upkeep, Exile top card of your library. Until end of turn, you may play that card. So, whenever a creature you control leaves the battlefield, this deals 1 damage to target creature or player. Cons is basically beginning your upkeep and exile top card of your library. It basically turns into card advantage. So, deal damage versus card advantage. Whenever you activate a loyalty ability of a Chandra Planeswalker, you may pay 1 if you do copy that ability. So you copy her ability when you use it, and you pay 1, tap, discard a mountain card, or a red card, draw a card. Not too shabby, if you ask me. Repercussion. Whenever a creature is dealt damage, repercussion deals that much damage to that creature's controller. It works better off of like a X burn spell. What's that? 13, the one that deals 13 damage. Cheap. Blast and Sacked. If you're doing something like Blast and Sack, that's terrible because that's almost nearly going to wipe every single card on your your side and your opponent's side of the field. Pretty solid. But it is extremely deadly. So Repercussion is a really good card. Pretty solid. Sunbird's Invocation. Whenever you cast a spell from your hand, trigger, boom. Reveal the top X cards of your library where X is the card of your theme. X cards of your library where X is the spell's converted mana cost. You may cast a converted... Oh my word. You may cast a card revealed this way with converted mana cost extra less without paying a CMC. So essentially, whenever you cast a spell from your hand, Soul Ring, Planeswalker, creature, whatever, you exile the top card numbers of your library where X is the CMC of the spell that you just cast. Anything that is equal to or less than that value you can cast for free. Very strong because it gives you card advantage after card advantage. It's very strong. Goblin Welder. Exchange target artifact a player controls for target artifact card in that player's graveyard. So essentially what it does is not just reanimate, but swap artifacts. Swap their places, you know? And I'm normally not a fan of that, but with Goblin Welder and ETB effects, dying effects, he can really make the card shine. He can make a lot shine. So Goblin Welder is about the only exception there. Anger. This thing wants to be in the graveyard because then, and he wants you to control a mountain, so every creature you have can potentially do damage through having haste. Very solid. In my opinion, at the very least. Hoarding Dragon. Dragon enters the battlefield. You can search for an artifact card, exile it, and shuffle your library. That's negligible. The second effect is what makes it matter. When Haunting Dragon is put in the graveyard from play, you may put the exile card into its owner's hands as like card advantage. So, Hoarding Dragon. Tutor Dragon. Hits the field, goes tutor for a card, boom. Goes to your hand. Now, that's where artifact lands come into play, because if you need lands, you can go search for artifact lands. Vashino Heretic. Pay 2, tap, destroy target artifact. This deals damage to that artifact's controller, damage equal to artifact CMC. Pretty solid. So artifact removal plus damage. Not bad. Infernal Titan, part of a combo piece, deal 3. When this creature enters or attacks, it deals 3 damage as you prefer. And I like the promo art too, by the way. Promo art's pretty sick. Dualcaster Mage is very much like that Fork instant where you can copy target instant or sorcery. As long as this is on the stack, and when it resolves, and there's other things to copy that are on the stack, you can choose whatever you want that has already been cast. I think that's how that works. Alright, not too much left. So, copy instant or sorcery with a creature is pretty good. In some cases, it's broken. It really depends on what else this is working with. There's some artifacts, some cards that come, they're in play and they copy creatures that enter the battlefield, so you get additional triggers. Pretty spicy, for sure. Magma Phoenix. It's a flying phoenix. When this thing dies somehow, it deals 3 damage to each creature and each player. Pay 5, returns to your graveyard. Return Magma Phoenix from the graveyard to your hand. So, card advantage for Magma Phoenix. Pretty solid. Junk Diver. When this dies, return another artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. Wormcoil Engine came with the original deck. So, when it dies, it has one worm artifact creature token with Death Touch and the other one with Lifelink. I thought it would have been like black and white or something like that, but whatever, it's retaining its colors. And it also has to die too, so yeah. This is an interesting card because it can only be activated in the graveyard where someone has something that when you play against some players, all they have is nothing but removal, spot removal, and board wipes. Plain and simple. Soul New Phyrexia can help with that. Mirror Retriever, same as the other one. When this artifact creature dies, flying mechanic is return target artifact card from your graveyard or hand. Copy this a couple times, you'll be rich. Mirror Battlesphere, self-explanatory. When it enters, make 4 1/1 colorless mirror artifact creature tokens and put them on the battlefield. Whenever it enters, yep. So it's whenever it enters, not whenever it attacks. Cost 7, pretty expensive. Sad Robot. When it enters, and then when it dies, search your land for a basic land card and put that into play. Tapped. Why am I thinking of the other one? Oh, right, because the other one has Warp. There's another simulacrum that is, it goes by a different name, and it's stuck in my head. It's a 2/1. It has Warp at the bottom. It costs the same. And you can warp it in play, and you can seek any land, put it in the battlefield tapped, and then when it leaves the battlefield, you can seek any card and any non-land card and put it into your hand. In some ways, it's better because that one is basically whenever it leaves the battlefield, and this one is whenever it dies. So anything that removes the graveyard really hurts these artifacts and the artifact side of the mono red deck. That's the biggest thing to say is graveyard removal for this artifact kind of deck is a killer. Be aware of that. Board wipe. Board wipe, but for artifacts. Blast Sacks and Vandablast, solid cards. Saheli's Directive. Improvise. Reveal the top card X of your library. You may put any number of artifact cards with converted mana cost X or less from among them onto the battlefield. Then put all cards reveal this way that weren't put on the battlefield into your graveyard. So, kind of like self-explanatory there as well. Trash for Treasure. In addition to casting this, you sacrifice an artifact to search for an artifact. Not bad. Avacyn's Judgment. It's a Madness card that you can put mana into it to deal a lot more damage. Very helpful. By force, destroy X target artifacts. It's pretty helpful. Sudden Demise, you choose a color, then Sudden Demise deals X damage to each color. Choose a color and Sudden Demise deals X damage to each creature of the chosen color. Green, red, blue, black, yeah, go for it. It works fairly well for the most part. It is a one-time trigger, and only for one color though. Volcanic Vision, return target instant or sorcery from your graveyard to your hand. This deals damage equal to that card's CMC to each creature your opponents control. Pyroblast is another burn slash counter spell, pretty useful. Comet Storm, mainly, if not only, card that allows you to hit a whole bunch of different targets without it being a AoE multiplayer spell. Thrill of Possibility is like the other one that I was telling about. This one's got pretty good artwork. Discard a card, draw 2, boom. Reverberate, great copy effect. And there's a couple other ones out there with the same name, but you know, someone uses it. Someone casts something really good that you want to actually have. You copy the original and throw the original back. Boom. There we go. That's basically about it. Whoops. Volcanic Vision. Return target insert sorcery graveyard from your graveyard to your hand. So this one is almost like a board wipe slash get something back in your hand. Pretty useful, but it's a one-time thing because then it exiles itself. Alright. I think that's about it. Yep. Soul of Junk Diver. Retrieval. The air retrieval. Lovely. Alright. That's really about it. Jaya Ballard is going back on the front here because she is super fun to play with, and I got enough cards to support her. Duretti is the next solid general. Then you generally have a couple other choices you can play around with if you're wanting to look into another direction or expand some of the parts of the deck. Now, for example, since I've heard some people start off with goblins since they're easy for commander, you can do that. Give me a second. I lost my train of thought. If you're making a whole bunch of goblins, just do stuff that works with them. Like, they're not exactly equipment based, but they'll do stuff to improve your sentinels. Excuse me, your goblins. Improve your goblins through death when they die, ping stuff, or something along the lines of that. Goblins and extra damage really can't be wrong. So experiment, have fun mixing, matching, and see what works better than others. That's about it. Got a lot here. It's a lot of fun. Especially these two, Sunbreak's Invocation and Infernal Titan. Pretty fun. Very enjoyable. Love to hear your thoughts down below because there's tons of stuff here to show off. I'm talking about for the box itself. Now that I'm done talking about the mono red deck, I can talk about other decks that I have, which are generally casual. My mono blue zombies comes to mind. My mono blue chaos comes to mind. Chaos as in not permanents but spells. Mono blue specializes in that kind of chaos. Mono red has cards that swap up things on the battlefield, whereas the mono blue one has stuff that swaps spells around. As annoying as that is, it is kind of funny in some cases. Mono blue zombies is different because cards like Dream of the Dead I originally had in the deck, and the way the card worked, pretend this was an enchantment. I played it for 4 mana, and Infernal Titan was in my graveyard. It's red, and the enchantment says a colorless and a blue. I'm forgetting the exact wording, but essentially, pay 2, choose target white or black creature in your graveyard, put it on the battlefield, and at the upkeep, it not only gets like an upkeep counter of some kind, but you have to pay the upkeep cost. And so you would get something like Deadeye Navigator and Parrot and Blanket. So it wouldn't be exiled by the Dreams of the Dead card, and you wouldn't have to pay for the upkeep cost as well. But it's a way to reanimate creatures straight from your graveyard. But you do need to color hack it with something like Glamour Dye. Glamour die, you would choose white or black in the text for the enchantment, and you just change it to blue or red or whatever. So you can target that other colored cards or cards in your graveyard to reanimate. Very strong, very fun, very powerful. But pulling it off is something you would probably need multiple counters for. Like blue-black, working with counters in that way will do wonders. That's it. Hope you like it. And this is beautiful promo artwork. I am very surprised it was only like $1.50. I do love it. All right, until next time.